Max Keiser, a longtime crypto advocate and Bitcoin bull, recently issued a price prediction for Bitcoin that stunned the market. Although the futures market may have influenced some of the Bitcoin's recent price movement, falling fiat currencies will ultimately function as a trigger to drive Bitcoin higher. He believes that once Bitcoin becomes a favored store of value, its market cap will surpass that of gold. Keiser discusses the de-dollarization of fiat money, as well as the rise in money printing and how that will affect the future of Bitcoin. Max has been a voice for the Bitcoin revolution in El Salvador and continues to charge forward. Let's hear what the Bitcoin bull has to say about what he thinks the direction for Bitcoin in 2022 is. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
The corrections in Bitcoin have been successfully getting less and less and less. I mean, I've went through 3 80 to 90% corrections, in Bitcoin since 2011. But since then, we've had less and less and less. So we just experienced a 20% correction. And so now that correction's over, and now we start going higher. And so it'll start to behave more like an asset class where you might see 10 to 20% corrections. The 30, 40, 50% corrections, I think, we're past that because the size of the market's gotten to be a lot bigger, and the amount of money on the sidelines waiting to get in is enormous. The biggest money funds in the world, Stan Druckenmiller, Paul Tudor Jones, Mass Mutual Insurance Company, they're all sitting on the bid, hoping to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. And that's only going to get bigger and bigger. Sovereign wealth funds are going to get into this, etc. So the corrections will be less and less and less. I'm going with $220,000 per Bitcoin, and that would bring us up to over $4 trillion market valuation.
Keiser believes that very soon it will be the downfall of the central bank, along with the money printing that will lead to a collapse. Here he gives an insight into how he determines the direction Bitcoin will go.
I think the catalyst is going to be, as I said, a major central bank failing, plus the money printing is going to go absolutely Weimar Republic. So we're going to see that, depending on how you calculate this, the 10 to 15 trillion that was printed in the last
so 220,000 per Bitcoin. When you come up with these forecasts, like I said, 2 years ago, you accurately predicted the 2020 forecast. How do you come up with these numbers? Are you sitting at the table with a calculator? Are you, baking your cheesecake and it comes to you? Like, how do you get to that number?
There's certain trends that you can put into your calculation. So we just had a halving in Bitcoin. There's three things in Bitcoin that people like Nouriel Roubini never mentioned: the halvings, the difficulty adjustment, and the hash rate. Now, that would be like me being a real estate broker and trying to sell real estate and telling people that I don't know where the house is, I don't know how big the house is, and I don't know who owns the house. Would you be a successful real estate broker? No.
Max discusses what the Bitcoin halving is and how that affects the supply and demand of the remaining cryptocurrency.
Okay, so Roubini is your target today. We get it. But that
okay. Let me get back to the question. So the halving happens every 4 years. So the supply gets cut in half. So that then you input that into the demand. So the demand is going, the demand's going higher, right? All these huge money folks are coming in to Bitcoin. Then the supply is shrinking. For example, there's 900 Bitcoin a day that are created, and the demand is over 4,000 a day. So that should tell you something right there. If you look at the exchanges, there's Bitcoin, kind of a snapshot of how many Bitcoin are circulating or in existence being moved around, that is shrinking rapidly because institutions are taking Bitcoin. They're gobbling up that Bitcoin. We're going to enter a Bitcoin shortage. So a couple of things we haven't seen, we're going to see gap pricing in terms of price discoveries. Once you get above 40,000, that panic buying from institutions comes in. You could see 42,000, and then the next print be 44,000.
And finally, we get Keiser's price prediction and when we can expect it.
Right, you're going to see.
Is it a straight up road to 220,000, or is there going to be major corrections along the way?
Well, like we just saw a 20% correction. I think we're going to see 10, 20% corrections all the time. And I don't know, I wouldn't say that this is where we end the year either. Probably this
Okay.
220,000 number, probably you're going to see that in October, November.
Max thinks the ECB will be dissolved and something will take its place, and that they won't call it a crash necessarily. He says they'll call it a reset or a bailout, similar to 2008 with Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns, a sort of rebranding. Time will tell how soon these things will come to pass, but what do you think? Do you agree with Max Keiser's Bitcoin price prediction for 2022? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.